Hey, why do I have a photo here of a shopping center? Does that make any sense? We're talking about selling and buying your next home. Give me 8 seconds and everything will make sense. Hey, how you doing? Yes, it is Anant Deoras, AD, Realtor with eXp Realty and Lakeview East resident. And today's topic is selling and then buying your next home. And I wanted to use the analogy of, see this one right here? And my Lakeview East neighbors know this photo, of course. It's the Marianos over on Broadway and Wellington. So what is the whole point of the shopping center or grocery shopping? You need a list, right? When you go, you have the list to stay focused, to stay on point. You want to have a goal to get in and get out as quickly as possible. It has to be systematic, right? Your non-perishables first, then your perishables, etc. And that is the same as selling and buying your home. You got to have that systematic checklist, and you need an advisor to help you, which would be me. So, or obviously a trusted advisor that you have. So the first step in selling and buying your home is you need to understand your net proceeds. Okay, I've done a video in the past. I highlighted 4 or 5 costs. I'm not going to really get into that. The point of the net proceeds is to see how much you're going to have at the closing table to be applied on that next purchase. So I would sit down with you and go through those costs, suggest a list price, and of course, you know, home sellers have 3 things that they want to know. And number 1 is, what is my home worth? And so I will explain the relationship of what your home is worth to what a suggested list price is and my recommendation based upon the market stats. So that's number 1. Number 2, you need to understand the market time, right? You're handling 2 transactions, and the last thing you want to do is, if homes are selling super quick, you get your home on the market, it's under contract, and then you're scrambling. Of course, you have a little bit of time, right? The buyers typically about 99% of the time have a loan. And so that loan obviously has to go to from contract over into closing. So you have a little bit of time, but you want to first understand that first. So for example, in my neighborhood of Lakeview East, I did every month I do a market update. And in that market update, it takes 18 days from listing to contract on average of market time. That's listing to contract. So you have about 3 weeks for it to get to contract. And then you add anywhere from 30 to 45 days on top of that for the buyer's loan to be approved. So you have a window of time of roughly a little bit more than 2 months, you know, to handle both sides. So that is that one specific situation. In other neighborhoods, as we're seeing throughout neighborhoods of Chicago, market times are increasing, pendings are lowering, actives and new listings are increasing. So we're seeing a shift. So that's something you're going to be cognizant about, and that's something that I do on a daily basis. Is I know the inventory and I understand the market, and I'm here to advise you. So your first step was your net proceeds. Second is understanding the market. And now third, let's prep your home for sale. I've also done a whole series of preparation videos, from painting to hiring contractors to photography, etc. Let's get the process of getting your home prepared. I offer what's called a pre-listing inspection, that you can kind of see, okay, how is everything going? If you have a home that's a little bit older, it's very critical to do one of those. Start doing that, getting the ball rolling. We're not going to necessarily get the property on the market just yet. We want to get that ball rolling, okay? So that is number 3 on prepping your home, and of course I'm happy to assist you with that. 4, okay, gotta start searching for homes, right? Some folks would say to do that right from the beginning, but like I said, it's so important to understand, particularly if you're, you know, this is under the assumption that you cannot handle 2 mortgages at a time, and that's understandable. So that's why you need to handle the net proceeds first, work on the market time, get the home prepped, and then of course start looking for homes. Now in the example of Lakeview East, with it taking about 3 weeks to get under contract, if you're super picky, or you need a little extra time, well then that may mean we need to lower your suggested list price so it goes a little bit quicker. And then also now get the search. I'm happy to provide my home search site, but you know, a lot of consumers like the Zillows and the Redfins and the Trillias. Personally, to me, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure you're looking at homes, and I'm here as an advisor, as a consultant to help you. And I can even set you up directly from my MLS, so you get quick updates, real-time updates, minimum twice a day of new properties hitting your inbox. So feel free to contact me on that. So that is number 4, okay? Finally, in situations we can have everything going right, we close on your listing, your property, and then in 2 hours on the same day, we're able to get you into the new home. Everything's going, you've got the movers. It is stressful, but it's all done in one day. I've done that and I have experience in that. Some folks get a little bit queasy with that because it is a tremendous amount of stress, and while I do the best to alleviate that stress, I can't alleviate all. So if you're someone who needs a little bit more time and needs a little bit more of a cushion, why not consider a leaseback option? What is a leaseback? Leaseback is a situation where you become the tenant and the buyer who purchases your home becomes the landlord. And the attorneys will negotiate X amount of days. For example, I've done it in a situation with one of my sellers who was also a buyer, gave him 3 extra days. And he paid a prorated, it's only fair, a pro rata portion of that buyer's loan for those 3 days. It just gave him a little extra time. He was able to stay in his existing home, and then of course the closing would take place on the listing. He would just have 3 more days to stay in the existing home before moving into his new home. And this also assumes that those buyers either have a lease or somewhere to live. If they want to get into the home, that's a whole other situation. But why not consider that leaseback? Another kind of part of the leaseback is the attorneys will negotiate what's called an escrow account, and will have, for lack of a better term, a refundable deposit in that escrow account, just in case there's damages. And we don't want you to throw in a whole wild party, right? But if there happens to be damages when you move out, then some of that portion of that deposit will be retained by the buyer. But in just about 9 out of 10 situations, you get that money back. So I hope you enjoyed this video where we talked about selling and buying your home. You have to understand your net proceeds, understand the market time. You have to prepare your home for sale. You have to search for a home, and then you possibly have to consider a leaseback. Any questions, reach out. Take care, guys.